people throughout the world are seeking comfort, but not understanding. And as long as they seek comfort, they will never find spiritual comfort, because behind it there is no true understanding of life. And for the understanding of life, you require harmony on out of this vast chaos which is taking place in the life of everyone and in every nation.
In the quiet heart of Andhra Pradesh, where the hills cradle the sky, lies Madanapalle, a small town rich in culture, tradition, and untold stories. Here, in a humble Telugu Brahmin household, destiny stirred, a divine blessing was on its way, and nothing would ever be the same. Jiddu Krishnamurti, an official in the British colonial administration, and his wife, Sanjivamma, was deeply religious and a devoted follower of Lord Krishna. Before the birth of his 8th child, a Brahmin priest predicted that the child would have a significant spiritual destiny. In reverence, his mother chose to give birth in the family's prayer room, believing the child to be divinely blessed. His mother Sanjivamma and father Narayana named him Krishnamurti, the image or likeness of Krishna, after the Hindu god, Sri Krishna. On the epic war of Mahabharata, where Pandava-putras were against their own bloodline Kauravas, Krishna delivered the Bhagavad Gita, a timeless and powerful lesson on life, values, and duty. At the age of 2, he nearly died from malaria, an illness that left him physically weak and vulnerable. His elder sister took a special care of him to overcome it. Krishnamurti was also very fond of her, as she used to take care of him, spend time with him as he was growing up. The coming year, his mother gave birth to his younger brother, Jiddu Nityananda, affectionately known as Nitya, who will be playing an important role in the extensive journey of Krishnamurti. Growing up, Krishnamurti shared a profound bond with his mother, a deeply spiritual woman. Sanjivamma's devotion to Lord Krishna permeated their household, influencing Krishnamurti's formative experiences. She would take young Krishnamurti to temples and narrate stories from Hindu mythology. Krishnamurti faced significant challenges in his early educations. He struggled academically and often perceived by his teachers as inattentive and lacking in scholarly aptitude. This led to frequent doubts about his capabilities, and he was sometimes considered intellectually deficient. His father, Jiddu Narayan, concerned about his son's future, sought guidance from the same Brahmin priest who predicted his life to be grandeur. The priest, recalling his earlier prediction, reassured that Krishnamurti was destined for greatness and his time would come, and reminded him the path is going to be harsh for him. In 1904, his eldest sister passed away at the age of 20. By following year, his mother died due to malaria, when Krishnamurti was just 10 years old. These consecutive tragedies left an indelible impact on him. In his later reflections, Krishnamurti recounted vivid experiences of sensing his mother's presence after her passing, such as hearing the sound of her bangles and seeing her form, indicating the deep emotional impact her loss had on him. He also described psychic experiences, such as seeing his sister. These early encounters with loss and the metaphysical had a profound impact on Krishnamurti's perception of life and death. The Theosophical Society, founded in New York City, established during a period of heightened interest in spiritualism and scientific materialism. The society aimed to explore the deeper significance of life beyond the observable psychic and physical realms. In 1879, the society's headquarters were relocated to India, and since 1882, the international headquarters has been situated in Adyar, Madras. The three objectives of the Theosophical Society were to form a nucleus of the universal brotherhood of humanity, without distinction of race, creed, sex, caste, or color, to encourage the study of comparative religion, philosophy, and science, to investigate unexplained laws of nature and the powers latent in humanity. Charles Webster Leadbeater, a prominent theosophist and self-proclaimed clairvoyant, lecturer and publications on occult subjects, contributing significantly to the Society's literature, one day when he is walking through the sea beach of Adyar, during these moments he saw two young boys playing in the beach. Leadbeater was captivated by one of the boys' aura, describing it as the most wonderful aura he had ever seen, without a particle of selfishness in it. After witnessing the boy's radiant aura, which shimmered with an innocence and purity he had never encountered before, Leadbeater felt a deep stirring within. Convinced that he had seen a sign, perhaps even a divine confirmation, he wasted no time. In the humid quiet of a small home near the banks of the Adyar River in India, a presence stirred. Charles Leadbeater, with deep esoteric insight and intuition, approached with urgency and reverence. The modest house belonged to Nitya, a clerk working for the Theosophical Society. Reserved in demeanor, he welcomed the Englishman with caution, unsure what drew him so intensely to this unremarkable corner of Madras. But Leadbeater had seen something. The boy, he explained, was no ordinary child. He was certain this was the soul destined for a higher purpose, a potential world teacher, a spiritual guide awaited by seekers across continents. The boy's name was Jiddu Krishnamurti. For Leadbeater, that moment felt fated. The name etched itself into his consciousness like the final clue to a puzzle long unfolding. But the road ahead would not be easy. The next day, Leadbeater returned. He presented a vision, a future where the boy would be raised not just in knowledge, but in wisdom, a life guided by a larger mission. The Theosophical Society would provide everything, but the father hesitated. His heart was already heavy with grief, having lost both wife and daughter. Even with the promise of opportunity, the pull of love and loss was stronger. Days passed. Leadbeater returned, never with pressure, but with quiet persistence. He offered more than ideals. He spoke of good food, education, care, a life with purpose. Slowly, the tide of resistance began to shift. One evening, as the palms swayed gently in the dusky breeze, Narayan finally relented, but with one condition: the boy would go, but not alone. His younger brother Nitya would go with him. Whatever path lay ahead, they would walk it side by side. Leadbeater accepted, and with that agreement, a journey began. Krishnamurti and his brother Nitya was placed on a pedestal even though he had never asked for it, struggling with the immense pressure of being seen as a spiritual savior while not yet having developed his own beliefs. Two brothers, hand in hand, would step into a world neither of them could have imagined. They were uprooted and thrust into a cosmopolitan, westernized environment at the Theosophical headquarters in Adyar. By the time, the Theosophical Society had thousands of members worldwide, active branches in India, Europe, North America, South America, Australia, and Southeast Asia. Their teachings were blending Eastern spirituality, Western esotericism, and mystical philosophy, which appealed to many intellectuals and spiritual seekers disillusioned with traditional religion. Annie Besant, the president of the Theosophical Society, met young Krishnamurti in 1909. She was instantly drawn to his presence. She took a legal custody of Krishnamurti and his younger brother Nitya, asserting that their spiritual destiny was beyond family matters. In 1911, Krishnamurti and his younger brother Nitya were taken to England by Annie Besant and other leaders of the Theosophical Society. Annie Besant loved Krishnamurti deeply. Like a son, she oversaw his upbringing and education, ensured he was given the best environment to grow into the world teacher. To Krishnamurti and his brother Nitya, she was a second mother, firm, devoted, and noble, a figure of affection, but also of great responsibility. Annie Besant believed deeply in the theosophical prophecy that Krishnamurti was to lead the spiritual awakening of the world, and Nitya will be the mind who helped articulate and manage the vision. But most people were unwilling to face Krishnamurti, including those in the Theosophical Society. Though he held deep respect for Annie Besant, he questioned and reminded her of the dangers of turning truth into an organized belief. The two brothers shared dreams of building a simple life beyond the religious machinery that surrounded them. They discussed opening schools for spiritual and intellectual freedom, retreating into nature to study, write, and heal others, living a quiet life of reflection and shared purpose. Annie Besant created the Order of the Star in the East, with Krishnamurti as its head, traveled the world with him, and Nitya promoted him as the world teacher.
Throughout the world are seeking comfort, and as long as they seek comfort, they will never find spiritual comfort, because behind it there is no true understanding of life. And for the understanding of life, you require harmony born out of this vast chaos which is taking place in the life of everyone.
During the process, he faced the most devastating loss. In 1925, while Krishnamurti was on a speaking tour in Europe, Nitya died of tuberculosis in Ojai, California. The death came suddenly and without warning. The news of his sudden death struck like lightning. The boy who had laughed and dreamed with him, who had protected him, who knew his soul more than anyone else, was gone. Nitya wasn't just a brother, he was his mirror, confident, and only real companion in a world that often treated Krishnamurti not as a spiritual figure but as a human being. Krishnamurti's trust in spiritual authorities and so-called divine guidance collapsed. He began to question everything he had been taught, especially the idea that his path was predestined.
The present civilization is based on greed and individual competition. It cannot last because it has no intrinsic value. The individual who has created and is dominated by this civilization tries to express his ambition and attain his desired social position.
In his deep sorrow, Krishnamurti turned inward. Over the following years, he underwent a powerful personal transformation. He described the process as a mysterious energy awakening in his body and mind. Krishnamurti wrote, "My brother was myself. His death tore away the last shreds of my illusions." By 1929, just 4 years later, he dissolved the Order of the Star, the organization formed to promote him as the world teacher, and made his declaration.
I maintain that truth is a pathless land and cannot be approached by any path whatsoever, by any religion, by any sect. Truth being limitless, unconditioned, unapproachable by any path whatsoever, cannot be organized, nor should any organization be formed to lead or coerce people along any particular path. First, understanding that, then you will see how impossible it is to organize a belief being purely an individual matter. You cannot, and therefore must not organize it. If you do, it becomes crystallized, dead. It becomes a creed, a sect, a religion to be imposed on others. That is what everyone throughout the world is attempting to do. Truth is narrowed down and made a plaything for those who are weak, for those who are only momentarily discontented. Truth cannot be brought down. Rather, the individual must make the effort to ascend to it. You cannot bring the mountain top to the valley. If you would attain to the mountain top, you must pass through the valley, climb the steeps, unafraid of the dangerous precipices. Organizations cannot make you free or develop the inner man. No man from outside can make you free.
He rejected all religious authority and began a lifelong mission of helping people with clarity and self-awareness, free from dogma, belief, or dependence. He returned significant properties and donations that had been amassed during his association with the organization. Among these were a castle in the Netherlands and approximately 5,000 acres of land. Krishnamurti traveled extensively throughout his life, delivering talks and engaging in dialogues across various continents. His speaking engagements spanned wherever he went. He held public talks, dialogues, and private conversations with scientists, psychologists, spiritual seekers, and students. He never charged money for these talks. Krishnamurti's teachings reached audiences in numerous countries across Europe, Asia, North-South America, and Australia. His global outreach was facilitated by the establishment of Krishnamurti foundations in the United States, Britain, India, Spain, and Canada, which helped disseminate his teachings worldwide. Krishnamurti believed education should help students grow in awareness, intelligence, and compassion, not just accumulate knowledge. He helped establish several schools including Rishi Valley School in India, Rockwood Park School at UK, Oak Grove School at Ojai, California. He gave his final public talk in January 1986 in India. Krishnamurti spoke with passion and clarity. He passed away a month later, on February 17, 1986, in Ojai, California, at the age of 90.